Hello and welcome back to my channel. You can tell by the looks of me that I am ready for a lazy weekend, and it's Sunday. I don't know when I'll be posting this video, but today is Sunday when I'm filming it, and I am making lovely dosa, crispy dosa with two kinds of coconut chutneys. So I'm going to be sharing one which is peanut coconut chutney and the other one is going to be a tomato coconut chutney. Both are delicious. Though the coconut is common, they do taste very different. So I'm going to prepare two coconut chutneys to go with the dosas and the sambhar and potato sabji. Now the sambhar and potatoes, I've already shared the recipe, so you can find the recipes on the channel. I have been given some tips to make crispier dosa, so I thought I will share them with you. I've got lots of South Indian friends and they make beautiful dosas. So this one is going to be a little bit time consuming because I'm going to soak the rice and lentils overnight and then blitz it to a puree and then let it ferment for a whole day before I can actually cook it. But before I do that, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button. Let's get cooking. So excited. Like I said, the dal and the rice soaked overnight, and next day after 12 hours, it's time to blitz it to a paste and then let it hopefully sit in the sun for a little bit. So here is 3 cups of full rice, which I washed 4 to 5 times last night and soaked it overnight. Now in this mixture, I've got 2 types of rice. I don't know if you can spot it, but there is 2.5 cups of idli rice this time and half a cup of normal basmati rice. I will show you closely how different they look in a second. So let's find the basmati rice. There it is, and the idli rice. So basmati is the, look, it's breaking because it's been soaking overnight. So this is the longer grain, which is the basmati. I've only added half a cup of that, but the rest of it I've added this idli rice, which you can find in Asian shops. A friend of mine has just told me that that might give me even crispier dosas. So I've soaked it overnight and now it's time to grind this. Also, I soaked 3 cups total of rice and 1 cup of urad dal. So I've got this round urad dal, which I washed 3-4 times last night and then soaked it. And this darker color are the fenugreek seeds. So 1 cup of that and 1 teaspoon of fenugreek seeds, washed a few times and then soaked overnight. And it's time to grind these two. So first I'm going to grind the lentils, the dal, before the rice in the same mixer. So basically I just soak it in enough water that they have enough water to soak and puff up. But in the morning, next day when you're grinding it, get rid of the extra water and just grind. A little bit of water is fine, but try and take as little water as possible and then grind it to a paste. So the key is to have it really smooth, and I've got this large bowl. I'm gonna put the lentils out in here first. Look how thick and creamy and smooth this is, and this is the texture we're looking for. And I'm not going to wash the mixer blender. I'm just going to grind the rice in the same blender. Look at that. So creamy. The rice is in there. So the rice is done now, and that's another really smooth mixture, and combine it in the same bowl because we need to mix it up. And that's all the rice blended. I'm just going to show you how the rice is lovely and smooth too. Just going to add it all in. Now to the mixture, I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt. And now just going to mix this for 2 minutes by hand. And now comes the fun and the key part, which is letting it ferment. If you can leave it for one whole day, that will be great. But 4 to 5 hours, good hours in the sunshine will do the trick. So this is it. No bubbles. It's completely smooth. I'm going to cover it with a lid and I'll show you in 5 hours how it looks. So for the first coconut chutney, I am just going to roughly chop 2 tomatoes first. And it really is super simple, very quick. All chutneys I make are quick and simple, really. So I'm just going to roughly chop this. In a hot pan, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of oil. I'm just using sunflower oil today. And to this, I'm going to add a few things. It's nice and hot now, so I'm just adding 3 to 4 red chilies. Just break it up, dried red chilies. You can use milder ones, you can use really hot ones, depending on your taste. And then in goes the chopped up tomatoes. I need to cook this until the tomatoes have softened, so that could take around 4 to 5 minutes. I have reduced the heat to low, medium, and then also going to add a small little piece of ginger, not too big, just a chopped up ginger, and then let this cook. So I have got the first coconut chutney cooking here. Now this is going to take 5-10 minutes. What I am going to do is I'm going to start cooking the sambhar. Now I'm not showing you exactly how I'm cooking the sambhar because the sambhar recipe is already on the channel. I've also shared a sambhar masala recipe so that if you can't get to the shops, you can make the sambhar masala at home. It's super simple, just using a specific handful of spices to make the sambhar masala. So while the chutney is kind of bubbling away, I'm going to start cooking the sambhar. Saves me a bit of time, trying to cook a few things together so it all comes together at the same time. So this is softened up real nicely. I'm just going to add 3 tablespoons of water just to help it soften up even further and give it another 2 minutes. And that is my sambhar getting cooked. So this has softened up really nicely. The water has been absorbed. Now I'm going to turn it off and just let it sit for 5 minutes while I'll get the coconut ready. And now I'm just using a blender. Just use any blender to make this chutney. Just transfer it. Suddenly the sun has just disappeared. Right, so this is 1 whole coconut which I have chopped up, and I'm going to use 1 coconut to make 2 chutneys. So for the first chutney, I'm just going to use half of it. So in this tomato mix goes half a coconut. I've just chopped it up, and half a teaspoon of salt and around 50 ml of water. And now I'm just going to blitz it up. Nice and smooth. Look how lovely this looks. I'm going to get this out in a bowl. So that's the chutney ready. I'm going to finish it with a lovely tadka. So I'm just using a tiny tadka pan and just going to add 2 tablespoons of sunflower oil again. I'm going to get it nice and hot. Going to add a teaspoon of mustard seeds, and you'll know it's hot when the seeds start popping up real nicely. Going to add a couple of dried red chilies and some fresh curry leaves. Turn it off, and now it goes on top of our chutney. So there is the tomato coconut chutney ready. So I'm moving on to the next chutney, which is the peanut coconut chutney. Once again, a couple of tablespoons of sunflower oil to begin with, and I've got 60 grams of peanuts which are not roasted. So I'm just going to cook this in this oil for a few minutes until they are really nicely golden, and I'm also going to add a couple of chilies. And once you can see it's got this beautiful color, you turn the heat off, and then you can just let it kind of sizzle away in the pan. Heat is off now, and then give it 2 minutes before blitzing it. Once again, it goes into a blender. I'm just going to let it cool down for a few minutes before I blend this. Don't want it too hot. So we've got the slightly cooled down fried peanuts. Then goes in half the coconut, the other half, just chopped it up, and half a teaspoon of salt. Then I am going to blitz this up. As you can see, this one is slightly thicker than the other chutney, and there's a reason for this, because now I'm going to add the last ingredient, and that ingredient is 4 tablespoons of natural yogurt. And then I will blitz it. And I'm just going to make a quick tadka for this as well. Nice hot pan and 2 tablespoons of oil again. I'm again using sunflower oil, and then going to add a teaspoon of mustard seeds. Also in this one, I'm going to add a teaspoon of urad dal, which is the split and no skin black lentils is what is urad dal. And just give it a few seconds to kind of sizzle. Reduce the heat. Just let it get a little bit of color, which will be quite nice. Don't want to burn it, but a bit of color would be lovely. Then goes in some curry leaves. Then this goes on the chutney. So there's the coconut peanut chutney and there's the tomato and coconut chutney, and both of them are ready. My sambhar is already here, and I'm just going to quickly prepare the potato sabji that goes with the dosa. So now it's time. Moment of truth. If it's not fermented a lot, I'm still going to cook it because I have given it enough time, 2 days, and now I'm getting impatient. So I'm going to eat it whether it's fermented or not, but let's check it out. Yay! It has fermented! Oh my god, I'm so excited! That has properly doubled in size and looks properly fermented. Look at that. Okay, let's... Oh, this is so exciting, guys. You have no idea how much my family loves dosa. Wow. Time to cook this. Some of you might know that I have done a dosa video some time back, and in that video I did tell you that you can use a normal frying pan, which I use all the time, or a cast iron pan if you have one. So I am going to try and use the cast iron pan. Actually, growing up when my mom made dosa all the time, the first dosa always sticks. So if your first dosa sticks to the pan, whether it's frying pan or cast iron pan, don't be disheartened, because that's something that happens to everyone. I'm going to get my special dosa pan out. There it is. It's a proper dosa pan. So usually the dosa batter, when it's ready, it's a bit thick to spread. So always add a little bit of water so it's more of a runny consistency. So what I'm doing is I'm going to transfer a little bit of the batter in a separate bowl, because I don't want to thin out the whole batter. So I just want to thin out what I'm making. So just a little bit of that, and then add a bit of water to the batter I'm going to use. Just make sure that you don't add too much. Should be like a runny-ish consistency. And I think like a pancakey batter. That looks really good. Right, let's try it. What I'm going to do is splash a bit of water and just wipe it with an onion, and hopefully this pan is ready for the dosas. Then you add a tiniest bit of oil. And it needs to turn nice and golden before you attempt to get this off. So this is the first dosa I've made, and I was not expecting it to not stick. But it's done very well. It's not too bad. for the first dosa. Usually my first dosas are all over the place. So I am quite pleased with this. First dosas, I have never seen anyone use a dosa pan and make the first dosa that doesn't stick. So if you are that person who's watching, please leave a comment and I would really appreciate you. Right, time to make the actual real dosa. First one. I'm still going to eat it though. But look at how crispy it is. Awesome. And really important to give this a clean. And fingers crossed that the second one will be cooked perfectly. Let's go, girls. Moment of truth. Oh! That, my friends, is a dosa. Just gonna get, I know people like sambar that is thinner in consistency than this, but that is a completely personal choice because I prefer it like this. So make it as thin as you like, to be honest. This is giving me so much joy at the moment. No! Okay, no worries, no worries. 20-second rule. Nobody saw that and it's my dosa anyway, so I'm going to eat it. So yeah, don't worry guys. It's all good. And there it is, the full dosa meal. Tomato coconut, peanut coconut, masala aloo, sambhar, and the crispiest dosas ever. Look at how crispy it is. I'm going in. It is actually better than any dosa I've had in any restaurant in London. It is crispy. It's got so much flavor in it. It's absolutely gorgeous. And all thanks to what? The sunshine. Because every time it's so cold and I just can't get the fermentation going, and it took me, I put it in the sun for exactly 2 days and it's just, wow guys. I'm not going to talk anymore. Do try this. Leave me a comment. Subscribe, and I'll see you back again very soon. Bye for now. This is heaven on a plate.